Pew, pew. What's good, my sharpshooters? Cal Visuals here, and today's another exciting episode of Cinematic Lighting Techniques. 3 dramatic lighting setups you can do at home with one light. Let's do it. Alright, so ignore the kind of crummy background. Let's pretend it's all sexy and tuned up. It's a beautiful set. So this lighting setup right here, some would like to believe is the split lighting setup. You know, we've got split right down the middle. We've got light source coming from this side, pointing directionally right at the side of my face. But that is actually not the case. We actually have a key light set up right here in the corner, pointing 45. This is called reverse side lighting. So generally I wouldn't be sitting like this. This is for an interview setup. Another thing to note real quick with interviews, you always want to be sitting opposite side so it makes sense directionally. It looks like a conversation. If I was looking this way, it would not make sense. It wouldn't look like we're having a conversation here. This looks like a natural conversation I'm having with someone off camera. And so that's where this comes in great hand, is using the reverse lighting method. What's really great about this method is, as compared to broadside lighting, lighting on this side of the face, this creates a lot more contrast. It makes it a lot more dynamic. And it brings out a lot more of the features in the face, and so this just has a lot more of a dramatic feel in the image. So this can be a great form of lighting. Really easy to set up, really easy to do. All you need is one light, ideally a C-stand, but again, you could use a dingy little newer light stand, or DIY, any of those. But one light stand, and again, you're lighting towards the reverse side. Now what I would recommend is putting it up at about a 45-degree angle, pointing down directionally, but also probably at about, if your talent's looking directionally this way, and this is what we'd call the 0 point, well then I would say at about 25 to 30 from that right there, and that's going to give you this beautiful reverse side lighting. Again guys, it's a great look. It's used a ton in cinema. A common thing to think about and look at with cinema actually is filming on the shadow side. You'll see a lot of films do this, not just with documentaries, guys, but a lot of narrative work, they film on the shadow side. Again, it makes it much more dramatic, unique, eerie, suspenseful. It adds that sexy, dramatic feel, guys. Do it. Yes. All right, y'all, on to look number 2. This is lighting setup number 2. I'm gonna be short and sweet with this one. I think this one is very specific. Yeah, this is bottom up, guys. This is very uncommon. We don't usually see this at all because it's just not natural. It's not a motivating light. Again, most of our lights are up on the ceiling or like somewhat eye level. So this just feels completely off and somewhat off-putting. The only time I would really look at doing, bottom-up lighting is, one, if we're trying to simulate, that flashlight effect, like someone's telling a scary story. We want to simulate that visual, but maybe we want to use the softbox so it's a cleaner light. It's not this nasty, hard light just with these really dark creasing shadows and everything. So doing that, and then again, maybe if we're on the computer or we're on our cell phone, so things that simulate light coming up into our face, then it would call for that instance of motivating light, but not to this strength. You don't really need something this big in order to really showcase that phone light effect. You could use simply like an ALM9 or some kind of little handheld LED in order to kind of showcase that effect, so long as that has high CRI. CRI essentially stands for color rendering index. The higher the CRI, the better the light. That's why film lights cost so much money, is because they have incredibly high CRIs compared to what you usually see with dinky little fluorescents or stuff like that you'd find in your school or like a factory or using at home. Those CRI levels are very low. But anyways, onwards and upwards, folks. Let's go to lighting setup number 3. Let's do it. Alright y'all, this is lighting setup number 3, backlight, or as some would call it, silhouetted lighting. So this right here is for a very unique and specific look. Again guys, this is a backlighted silhouette look. Again, I think this should only be used for very specific projects, as it's just not a very versatile look. It's not ideal for any kind of commercial work and stuff like that. This is for more creative projects. Again, you know, I mean, I think what's really cool is it just has a unique and captivating look. Again, ignore this bar here. This is just a quick setup I did. If I was really going for a backlight setup, you would not see where the backlight is actually set up. It would be hidden. But again, this is just to kind of give you guys the overall idea of it. And so again, I think it can be a very cool, dramatic, and fun lighting setup that you can do, especially if you're doing music videos or any kind of narrative work. Maybe it's like a short film, an experimental project, documentary, stuff like that. I think it can work great for, but anything commercial, corporate, clean and sleek, it's just not going to work, as again, you know, it's a very dark and dramatic look here. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed the look. I know it's one of my personal favorites to use for creative projects. And yeah guys, really easy setup, one light stand, one light. Lastly, and real quick guys, I'm not going to consider this a look, but this is just another variation of the backlight setup. Is, for instance, maybe you wanted to just backlight the actual back wall and leave your talent in, well, all black here. Or maybe you get another light and you bounce, so it's a very soft light here in the front. This is not a look you really use like almost ever, but you do see it in some documentary work as well as some TV shows where whoever's talking, you know, this interviewee wants to remain anonymous. So anything where you're working with an anonymous character or someone's identity just doesn't want to be given away. Maybe it's people who were past victims of sexual abuse or something like that. That's an instance where this look could come in handy. It could be a great look to use. You know, people can still somewhat see a figure, get that essence of a character, a real person is talking and communicating to them, but it still leaves that ominous and dramatic and eerie feeling of not really ever knowing who that person is. So again guys, this is just a quick second variation. This is variation B of variation 3, the backlight setup.
Woo! Go and wipe that sweat bead off your forehead. We are done, folks. We made it through. Great job. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it. Drop a comment below if there's anything I missed or you want me to discuss in next week's episode. I love hearing from y'all. I need that creative insight. Tell me. Seriously. I'm like running out of ideas over here. Yeah. And be sure to subscribe. More awesome content coming every Friday. See y'all then.